You put your husband in the laundry, and then when it comes out, it's already ironed and dried and folded. If that happened, we would be autonomous.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Convo couch. Today we've got Jourdan Bremmer. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Hen.
Great. American in Sydney.
Yeah, that's it.
So how long have you been acting for now?
Well, isn't that like a thing, like you've been acting your whole life kind of thing?
Okay.
I feel like I've been acting my whole life, but very seriously, it's been like maybe 5 years, 6 years. Yeah.
Like as in like properly
like pursuing it.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
since it had been like since 2013, I think. Yeah.
Right. And you've been in Sydney for 4 years.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So before that, you've started.
I've been in Sydney for 2, and then before that I was in Brisbane.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you moved straight from Texas to Australia.
Well, I moved from Chicago, so really close. But Chicago, because I was in Texas for a little bit. Then I moved to Chicago for acting, and then I moved to Australia. Yeah.
Okay. So why Australia?
My job. My job,
okay.
we're like, oh, you should, are you interested in an opportunity in Australia? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So yeah.
Why? Is it because of the sunny beaches, the opera house?
Oh, I think it would just be like an opportunity for like a Texan to live outside the country.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like, it just happened to be Australia, I think, yeah.
Okay.
If they would have said like Vietnam or Hong Kong or I don't know, something else, like I would have probably still done it, but I was just like, oh, okay.
Okay, so you like the traveling and the international
I do, yeah.
exposure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you would like that as well, hey?
A little bit not out of choice, but I did enjoy it.
Why did you pick Sydney?
My parents picked Sydney.
Oh, your parents. Yeah, right. Okay.
So they brought me over here.
So they brought you over here, and now you're like, I'm here now.
Yeah, oh well, let's just go with the flow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so you did a little bit of acting back in Chicago and now here in Sydney as well. Brisbane, Sydney.
Brisbane, Sydney, yeah.
Ooh, do you feel like there are like a few differences across just different cultures or countries?
Absolutely. Like I think I just feel like Australia, somebody described this once. I was like, Australia is like America 10 years ago kind of thing. But in terms of like the culture, like I found Australia is much more nice. Like they have we look out for each other, we help each other. And that's very similar to like the Texas mindset. But I wouldn't say the whole of the United States like operates that way. Sometimes it can be very like me, what's in it for me, I, like, individual focused rather than like what's best for everyone. Type thing.
Do you feel Chicago is more like that?
Chicago is more... Chicago's a weird one. Chicago's a real...
Yeah, Chicago's...
eclectic, I would say.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in Australia, the eclectic one would be Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like Melbourne.
Yeah. Right. I would say that. Because it's very, like, Melbourne being very, like, arty and also foodie, and you have just, like, the subcultures of Melbourne are so big. So it's like Chicago, I feel like. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because you hear about a lot of great plays coming out of Chicago, like theater runs.
Yeah. You've got like improv, so the Second City is there. So improv capital of the U.S. definitely would be in Chicago. And then you have theater, so you have like Gary Sinise did Steppenwolf, and like so now you've got a really good theater kind of subculture. And then you have what's the University of Columbia? So like all of your acting schools.
They've got a good film school.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all happening, and then on top of that, then you have like the big sports culture, right? So you've got the Blackhawks, which is their hockey team, and that's huge. The Cubs, Chicago Cubs, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you've got your sports, you've got your food, you've got something for everyone there. Okay. I love it. I would go back.
I feel like that's your favorite city.
I love it.
Oh my gosh,
so good.
The way you're raving on about it.
I'm like, I would go back. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to pick one city that you would stay in for the rest of your life.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Right. I don't know. Yeah. For the rest of my life. That's such a long time.
Yeah. Actually, that's like a different dynamic. Because you got to think about a lot of different things as well. Like,
because I feel like if it's for the rest of my life, but I don't know. I think I'd get bored in Texas. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe Chicago, but it's also really cold there, right? Like, you have to deal with the snow and, like...
How low does it get, temperature-wise?
So in Fahrenheit, it gets, like, minus 17 wind chill, and it gets real cold.
Oh.
Yeah, so that'll be... Yeah, and then they'll get, like weather advisories, don't go outside, so if you, like, breathe in outside, it, like could freeze your Like,
Wow.
yeah, it's legit. It's like legitimately.
How do people go to work?
Sometimes they tell you not to. Like they'll literally say like stay inside or only be outside for if you really really need to. Yeah. So a lot of the companies are very like sensitive to that, and so they'll say, oh, work from home today if you can. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So how many days in a year would you usually get that?
Probably I don't know, maybe like that cold, that extreme cold, probably only like seven
7
or
days
8.
a week, a year.
Yeah. 7 or 8.
That's actually not bad.
That's not-
doesn't
yeah.
come out of annual leave. It doesn't come out of sick leave.
Yeah, it's just like inclement weather days. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that, but I would just have to like I guess stay at home, crank up the heater, and like work on my laptop or something.
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
it
Oh, and
home.
like, have you seen the thing where like they have like a pot of boiling water and you go outside and you chuck it into the snow and
Right.
it turns instantly into snow?
Yeah.
That's how cold it is. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's impressive. I don't think I'll ever survive there.
No, well, that's the thing. I'm like, I don't know if I could be there my whole life, but
Yeah, I mean, like after you've experienced Brisbane and Sydney, it's like, it's a different level.
yeah, yeah.
You started, I guess, your acting in Chicago. Did you get your training there?
So I did Second City. So that's where I started. I like made the decision after like, we're going, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. I was like, well, should we save this? I don't know.
Sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm just in the audience.
Oh no, that's okay.
He comes in and out.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I like made the decision to. I was like, well, if I read Tina Fey's book Bossy Pants, I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
So I like read it and I was like, well, she can do it. I can go. I can do it. I can. We're like, So I just was like, okay, I'll go to Second City and I'll start improv and I'll just start acting that way. So I moved to Chicago, moved in really close to Second City, and then started taking classes. Yeah. And so I did improv, like there's levels. So you do like the beginning levels and then you graduate and then you audition for the conservatory and then you audition again and then you go all the way through that school. So all up that was like about 2 years. And then there's multiple other schools as well. So there's like Comedy Sports and Improv Olympic, which is just called IO now because of copyright.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so your training basically got started with improv and a bit of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so sketch, I did a lot of like sketch writing, sketch performing. Like I was performing like 4 or 5 nights a week before moving to Brisbane. Oh, talk about culture shock. That was like, it was performing so often to nothing. Oh, yeah, like I was doing that for like about 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so it was definitely like a thing for you. Like it's a habit. Even.
Oh, yeah. Like I love it though. It's really, it sucks you in.
Yeah.
It's,
Wow.
and I think it takes me, like it took me a long time to realize like what I like doing or what I want to, not like what I want to do, because I'm still kind of in two camps about, I'm like, I have to pay the bills, but also I need a creative outlet. So yeah.
So you had a few like transition points where you were like, okay, so the only reason you moved to Chicago was to pursue acting.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you read Tina Fey's book, made that decision, moved out of house to a different city.
Yeah. It was definitely like life changing. But it's funny when you make these decisions, you don't think about it like, oh, I'm about to change my life here. Like I didn't, even when I moved to Australia, it was like, oh, this will be fun. This is an adventure. But you don't realize like, oh, I quit, like I've like changed my entire life and I've like packed up everything and moved halfway across the world. Like that was never a thought. Like that was never a thing that crossed my mind. That was like, oh, that's what she's doing.
Okay, so it was just more of like, on to the next one.
Yeah. It was like, okay, cool, next. Like it's like a project.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's very funny because like it was Christmas. It was like the day before Christmas and I wanted to go, like I made the decision I wanted to go like try out some classes. Like and so they do intensives, right? So I took my parents out. I bought a plane ticket. I didn't tell them. And I took them out for dinner. And I sat them down and I was like, listen, I know that tomorrow's Christmas. And I was like, and then the next day I'm going to need you guys to take me to the airport because I'm going to go take some classes in Chicago. And they're like,
Wow.
what? They were very excited. Like, they were like, Jourdan, we've told you this whole time that you needed to be doing that.
Okay, so they were pretty supportive.
Oh, yeah. They've been like, yeah, they were just like, told, I don't know what you've been waiting on. Like,
Okay,
so,
no, that's
yeah.
Cool.
I'm like, because I like money as well, and I don't want to be a struggling, starving artist.
Fair enough. That's a good point. Yeah.
So yeah, did that, and then I loved it, obviously, and then I commuted for a while, like, to class. So it was once a week on Saturdays. So I would leave my house in Texas at, like, 6 a.m., and then I would land at 8 a.m. in Chicago. I'd get there, kill a few hours, and then class would start at noon. So, like, I would just commute for I commuted for a couple months.
When you say commute, you took a plane.
Plane from Texas to Chicago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like crazy commute.
Well, like, and the thing was, like, I also didn't think of that as, like, a big thing. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just get a plane ticket. I'll just, because I had a job. I was really fortunate. I had a job, like, a career job that would fly me in and out of locations because I was software training. So I would fly in on a Sunday to Chicago, like, pay for a night of hotel for myself, and then the next morning, my flight wherever was next would be covered by my company.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it was just, like, using Chicago as a base.
Okay.
On Mondays. Yeah, it was really... Yeah, it worked out so well, like, looking back on it. I'm like...
All right. Wow. Cool. The Texas mindset is so different.
Did you think it was... Do you know Texans? Like, do you know many?
No, I don't. But I'm just like... I guess from my point of view, it's like flying to another city to take classes for a day and then flying back to your original city is just like insane to me.
and I think it was insane to them as well. Like, to be fair, they were like, where's everyone from? And I was like, oh, Dallas. And they're like, Dallas, Texas? And I was like, yeah. They're like, where do you live? I was like, oh, in Dallas. like...
And yeah, okay, so they got the whole thing about you flying in and out and
yeah,
everything.
Yeah. But I wasn't like, I didn't think that there was anything special to that. I wasn't trying to be like, I fly here every, I just didn't, it was just, I wanted to take classes and this is where the classes were. It was very logical to me. I was like, well, if you want to take classes in Chicago, you got to get to Chicago. So
you're pretty definite about taking classes in Chicago, like nothing in Texas?
Not really. Like, I just like I said, I read the book and I was like, if you want to go be the best, you should go study with the best. And where's the best for this? And that was Chicago for me. So, yeah.
Okay. So that was a pretty influential book for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It just started, it was like a wormhole that I kind of just,
went in.
Yeah. It's, when you're like watching YouTube videos and then like it plays the next one and the next one and next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later and you're like, why am I watching this cat jump out of a window? Like, it's just very like tangential, I guess. It was, yeah. It was probably one of the best like times of my life. To be honest, it was just really, really cool. I'd never been immersed in a culture like that before, and it was like you're living, breathing, eating comedy, if that's a thing. So, and all your friends are in comedy, and you have like a really tight knit group of people, and you have creative collaborations, and it was really good. Although at the same time, you can feel kind of smothered, like you have to like. It ebbs and flows, like that you need to like take a step back when you feel like your creativity is kind of stifled. So I think the move to Australia was really good, but then as soon as I was here and I took a break for a little bit, I was like, I miss it. I have to go back. So, yeah.
So you love comedy?
Yeah. I don't know if it's comedy, but I like entertaining. I think that's yeah.
Okay, so what about if it's like, say, a drama, a melodrama, feature film? Something.
Like I feel like I'm typecast a lot. So I'm not always like, they'll be like, oh, she's funny. So, and I don't try to be funny, but they're like, oh, but that's...
You have a funny kind of vibe.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? So I don't know, I guess. So I feel like I don't get as many opportunities to do melodrama, but like I can do things like cry on cue and like be expressive, but I think it's just mainly, I don't know. I just like to play in the light stuff, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's the personality.
Yeah.
Your personality is pretty, I guess, warm, friendly.
Like bubbly, like a little bit. I get bubbly a lot.
Okay.
Like I feel like a lot of times comedy is like a coping mechanism for that. And whereas I'm like, I don't think I would consider myself like a comedian. I just like to laugh. And like I like to make other people laugh.